Ladies and gentlemen of the Action Army, what is going on? And welcome to another episode of Answers for Athletes. In today's video, we got a question from Alex Patterides, who says, "Hello, I got a question. Which is better, depth jumps with a max jump afterwards or depth jumps with a short ground contact time?" Well, this is a great question, and I have a great answer for you. But before I give you that answer, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your question down below if you want me to answer your question in a video just like this. And there's a link down below in the pinned comment and in the description of this video that has access to my advanced training programs. Do me a favor and climb up onto the top ropes. And as that link is begging for its life, drop down and people's elbow that link and get my advanced training programs. $20 a month gets you access to any one program. $40 a month gets you access to literally every single program that I have ever created so that you can increase your vertical jump as much as possible and your athleticism, your strength, speed, power, explosiveness in general, lower body, upper body, knee program, all that. So here we go. What you are describing with the fast stretch shortening cycle or the shorter ground contact times, that is actually considered a drop jump. So we have depth jumps and we have drop jumps. Depth jumps are going to be longer ground contact times, deeper knee flexion, more muscle dominant than tendon dominant. And the cue that I like to give athletes is just get off of the ground as high as you possibly can. I don't care how long you stay on the ground. We're not trying to get off the ground fast. We are dropping off of a box, a bench, a chair, your mother's couch, and we are getting off of the ground as high as possible. For a drop jump, it is more shallow ranges of motion, shorter ground contact times, more tendon dominant than muscle dominant. And the cue is to get off of the ground as fast as possible. The floor is lava. And understand where I say tendon dominant versus muscle dominant. Understand the muscles and the tendons are always working together. It's just which of the, it's a little bit more of a tendon focus with drop jumps and more muscular focused, muscular dominant with depth jumps. So which of these is going to help you increase your vertical jump more, and how do we add these into our training program to get the most results possible? So depth jumps are actually going to transfer a little bit better to 2-foot power jumpers who use those deeper ranges of motion, those longer ground contact times, whereas drop jumps are going to transfer a little bit better to single leg speed jumpers who get off of the ground very quickly in shallower ranges of motion, who really need that stiffness. So this isn't to say that if you're a 2-foot jumper, you never do drop jumps, or if you're a single leg jumper, you never do depth jumps. I think that's wrong. And very quickly, one thing that I want to stress on this channel is that you don't need to do any given exercise. You need to understand the qualities that you're trying to improve. So people ask me all the time, do I need to squat? Do I need to deadlift? It hurts my back. Do I need to power clean? No, you don't need to squat. You could do rear foot elevated split squat, trap bar deadlifts. You don't need any one single given exercise other than max jumping. Like if you're going to add something in, one exercise that always needs to be there, it's max approach jumps. But you need to understand the qualities that you are trying to improve. And as an athlete, you should be trying to improve both of these qualities overall. It's not like, oh, I'm a 2-foot jumper, so I never do reactive-based training with fast, short ground contact times, fast stretch shortening cycles. You should always be trying to improve both and do both. So if I were you, I would add, and you don't need to do drop jumps or you don't need to do depth jumps and drop jumps. But if you are going to do both of these, just let's say we have a basic upper body, lower body split or lower upper split, and you're doing lower body every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. A very simple thing to do would be add depth jumps for like 15 reps, 5 sets of 3. I've been doing a lot of giant sets recently. So 5 sets of 3, it's like, is it really 5 sets of 3 or is it just like 15 reps? Unless you're supersetting it with something for contrast training, but 15 reps of depth jumps, rest as much as you need in between jumps so that you can get as high as possible. And then on Friday, just do like 15 reps of drop jumps where it's, the focus is fast stretch shortening cycle, shorter ground contact times. That would be an easy thing to do. Now, what I do for my athletes is when we do depth jumps, what I used to program, which this is not as effective as possible. This is a mistake that I made as a trainer years ago, is I would have athletes drop off of a box and then jump onto another box. I think that's wrong. The intent just isn't there. It's good, but it's not as good as it could be. So make sure that when you do that's fine for drop jumps, but when you do your depth jumps, make sure that you are trying to touch something high. And if you can't touch something high, just jump as high as possible into the air. When you jump onto another box, you're not jumping with max intent as high as possible, unless the box is like really at the peak of your limits. For drop jumps, it doesn't matter because the goal is as fast as possible off the ground. So that is the stimulus that we want. But for depth jumps, I like to drop off of a box or a chair and then try to touch the backboard or the rim, or try to dunk a tennis ball, a soccer ball, a volleyball, or touch a high wall or a high ceiling. And if you can't touch anything, just make sure that you drop off and jump as high as you possibly can. But I think I'm getting a little bit off track. So to answer your question, which is going to be better? Depth jumps are definitely going to be better for 2-foot jumpers, power jumpers. Drop jumps are definitely going to be better for single leg speed jumpers. But you need to have these qualities in your training throughout the entirety of your training. So you should always have some sort of plyos that have deeper ranges of motion, longer ground contact times, and some sort of plyos that have more shallow ranges of motion, shorter ground contact times. And then twice a week. And then some regressions that I like to do with drop jumps is drop jumps really are the regression. You can start with a 6-inch box, then go 12-inch box, 18-inch box, 24-inch box, 30-inch box. Once a 30-inch box becomes easy for drop jumps, instead of just continuing to increase the box height up and up and up, what I like to do is then add in like single leg hops and single leg bounding. So in the later phases in my programs, that's when we add the single leg reactive strength, because obviously it's going to be easier to get off of the ground quicker with 2 legs versus 1 leg. So I think starting with, single leg hops, very, very low intensity can be great, but drop jumps progressed into hops and bounds, I think is a good thing for you to do. And those are all going to improve the stiffness and really help you with your single leg bounce. So don't ever neglect either one of these. You want 2-foot bounce, you want 1-foot bounce, and like everything works together. All of the qualities help all of the other qualities. So just put it together in a good system, or speaking of a good system, get my advanced training programs. Link in the description and in the pinned comment of this video. But hopefully I answered the question. Hopefully I said something that was beneficial for you. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave your question down below if you want me to answer your question in a video just like this, and people's elbow that link and get my advanced training programs. $20 a month gets you any one program. $40 a month gets you access to every single program that I've ever made in my entire life, so that you can improve your athleticism and your vertical jump as much as possible. But I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.